from a rich blue smoke, the colour of...
Okay, the colour of?
The colour of...
Peacocks.
Peacocks.
Yep.
I don't know what's peacock.
Peacocks are a kind of bird that can't fly. They have very nice, colourful feathers. Bluish, dark blue. Karen. Rose from the surface
of the
liquid, from the top of the liquid, okay? And a fiery, fearsome smell filled the kitchen.
A fiery, fearsome smell filled the kitchen. It made George cook and
Choke, like that.
choke.
Yeah, splatter.
Where's choke?
Choke and splatter. Okay, so he's coughing and he's struggling to breathe.
And splatter.
It was a smell.
It was a smell unlike any he had smelled before. It was a brutal and
bewitching
smell. Spicy and staggering fire.
Fierce and frenzied. Frenzied.
Frenzied full of
Wizardry.
and magic when...
The full stop and magic, okay? Full of wizardry and magic. New sentence. Whenever
he got a whiff
whiff of it, when he smelled some of it, up his
nose,
firecrackers
went off in his skull, and electric prickles ran along the backs of his legs.
So when he smells it, his brain is like there's fireworks in his brain. It's like so much going on. The smell is just like what? His mind is his mind blowing for him. Okay, that's what happens.
That's what happens to him.
What happens next? Let's find out. Okay.
It was wonderful to stand there
stirring
this medicine mixture.
This amazing
mixture and to watch it smoking blue and bubbling and
frothing
and foaming. As though
good.
It were alive.
Very good. Pause. Alive. Good. At one point
he could have saw bright sparks flashing in the swirling foam.
So it's great. All sorts of crazy things going on with this thing. Yeah.
Wait.
Very done.
That's fine.
Shall we do a little bit? I'll read one page. This little bit at the end.
Yeah, I'll do it.
And suddenly, George found himself dancing around the steaming pot, chanting strange words that came into his head out of nowhere. Fiery broth and witch's brew, foamy froth and witch's blue. Fume and spume and spoondrift spray, fizzle, swizzle, shout hooray. Watch it sloshing, swashing and sploshing. Hear it hissing, squishing, spissing. Grandma better start to pray. Where do you get these strange words from? Brown paint. George turned off the heat under the saucepan. He must leave plenty of time for it to cool down. When all of the steam and froth had gone away, he peered into the giant pan to see what colour the great medicine now was. It was a deep and brilliant blue. It needs more brown in it, George said. It simply must be brown or she'll get suspicious. George ran outside and dashed into his father's tool shed where all the paints were kept. There was a row of cans on the shelf, all colours, black, green, red, pink, white and brown. He reached for the can of brown. The label said simply, dark brown, gloss paint, 1 quart. He took a screwdriver and prized off the lid. The can was 3/4 full. He rushed it back to the kitchen. He poured the whole lot into the saucepan. The saucepan was now full to the brim. Very gently George stirred the paint into the mixture with a long wooden spoon. Aha! It was all turning brown. A lovely, rich, creamy brown. Where's that medicine of mine, boy? The voice from the living room. You're forgetting me. You're doing it on purpose. I shall tell your mother. I'm not forgetting you, Grandma, George called back. I'm thinking of you all the time, but there are still 10 minutes to go. You're a nasty little maggot, the voice screeched back. You're a lazy and disobedient little worm, and you're growing too fast. George fetched the bottle of Grandma's real medicine from the sideboard. He took out the cork and tipped it all down the sink. He then filled the bottle with his own magic mixture by dipping a small jug into the saucepan and using it as a pourer. He replaced the cork. Had it cooled down enough, though? Not quite. He held the bottle under the cold tap for a couple of minutes. The label came off in the wet, but that didn't matter. He dried the bottle with a dishcloth. All was now ready. This was it. The great moment had arrived. Medicine time, Grandma, he called out. I should hope so too, came the grumpy reply. The silver tablespoon in which the medicine was always given lay ready on the kitchen sideboard. George picked it up. Holding the spoon in one hand and the bottle in the other, he advanced into the living room. Now let's see what happens. You tell us what happens when the grandma... You're going to read this part? Okay, your turn, come on. Oh, let's go.
My tissue.
Mm-hmm.
The voice from the living room, you're forgetting me.
No, we've done that one. Just flip it over to the next page. So he's about to serve the medicine to his grandma now. Let's see what happens.
See, maybe she's gonna blow up.
No, she'll turn into a real witch, maybe. Let's see.
Or maybe she'll...
Come on in. Grandma gets the medicine. Okay.
Gets the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma sat hunched in her chair by the window. The wicked little eyes followed George closely, and he crossed the room.
He crossed the room.
Towards her. You're late, she snapped. I don't think I am, Grandma. Don't interrupt me in middle of a sentence, she shouted. But you finish your sentence, Grandma.
There you go again,
she cried, always interrupting and arguing. You really are a tiresome little boy. What's the time? It's actually 11 o'clock.
It's exact.
It's exactly 11 o'clock, Grandma. You're lying as usual. Stop talking so much and give me my medicine. Shake the bottle first, then pour it in the spoon. Make sure
it's a whole
spoonful. Are you going to gulp it down in one go? George asked her. Or will you spit it?
You sip it. Little by little. What
I do is none of your business, the old woman said. Fill the spoon as George removed...
No, hold on. Sentence finished. Fill the spoon. Okay, and then the next sentence.
As George removed the cork and began very slowly to pour the thick brown stuff into the spoon. He couldn't help thinking back upon all the mad and marvelous things that had gone into the making of this crazy stuff. The shaving soap, the hair removed the
Hair remover.
The hair remover, the dandruff cure,
The automatic.
automatic washing powder,
Washing machine powder.
washing machine powder, the flea powder for dogs, the shoe polish, the black pepper,
The black pepper, yeah.
the
Horse. So I can't read that. I'm not missing the book. Missing the horseradish sauce.
Horseradish sauce. And all the rest. And all the rest of them not to
mention the
powerful animal pills and powders and liquid and the brown paint upon your mouth.
One more time. Read that one.
Upon Open your mouth wide, Grandma, he said, and I'll pop it in. The old hag opened her small, wrinkled mouth, showing disgusting pale brown teeth. Here we go, George cried out. Here we go, George cried out. Swallow it down, he pushed.
He pushed the spoon.
He pushed the spoon well into her mouth and tipped the mixture down her throat. Then he stepped back to watch the
result. It was worth
watching Grandma
Hold
yelled.
on, sentence finished. It was worth watching. Now,
It
say
was
it.
worth watching.
There you go, Karen. Grandma
yelled, "Ew!" And her whole body shot up, whoosh, into the air. It was
exactly as though
someone had pushed an electric. What happened to her?
I don't know. Let's find out what happened. I don't know. I've never read this book.
Electric wire
through.
Someone had
through her.
Through her chair.
And
switched on the
switched on the current.
And switched on the current. Up she went like a jack in the box.
And she didn't.
And she didn't come down. She stayed there.
Suspended.
Suspended
meaning hanging. Suspended
in mid-air, about 2 feet up.
And still in a sitting position.
Still in a sitting position.
But rigid. Rigid. No, you know what rigid means? Rigid is when you can't move. You're still. You're stiff. You can't move your body.
Hello.
Hello, your face is really close. Okay. Do you want to stop here and carry on a little bit more? I'll read a little bit more, and then you can read one side, you read the other side, okay? Right, do you want to hold it quickly for a bit? Don't put my face in it, though, because I don't want to see my face in it. You can just read it. Right.
Only your fingers there, though.
You can put on the page so you can read what. Grandma sat hunched in her chair by the window. Have we done this one already? From the next one? Right. Frozen, so she was rigid, like this. Look, she's frozen, quivering, the eyes bulging, the hair standing straight up on end. Is something wrong, Grandma? George asked her politely. Are you all right? Suspended up there in space, the old girl was beyond speaking. The shock that George's marvellous mixture had given her must have been tremendous. You'd have thought she'd swallowed a red-hot poker the way she took off from that chair. Then down she came again, with a plop, back into her seat. "Call the fire brigade!" she shouted suddenly. "My stomach's on fire." "It's just the medicine, Grandma," George said. "It's good, strong stuff." "Fire!" the old woman yelled. "Fire in the basement! Get a bucket! Man the hoses! Do something quick!" "Call it, Grandma," George said, but he got a bit of a shock when he saw the smoke coming out of her mouth and out of her nostrils. Clouds of black smoke were coming out of her nose and blowing around the room. "By golly, you really are on fire," George said. "Of course I'm on fire," she yelled. "I'll be burned to a crisp. I'll be fried to a frizzle. I'll be boiled like a beetroot." George ran into the kitchen and came back with a jug of water. "Open your mouth, Grandma," he cried. He could hardly see her for the smoke, but he managed to pour half a jugful down her throat. A sizzling sound, the kind you get if you hold a hot frying pan under a cold tap, came up from deep down in Grandma's stomach. The old bag bucked and shied and snorted. She gasped and gargled. Spouts of water came shooting out of her, and the smoke cleared away. Carry on? Shall I carry on?
I'll carry on.
That's very good. Very good. You read nicer than me. I like listening to you reading.
Fire out, George, and
The fire?
the fire out.